We're live. Welcome to another podcast. I am Mike.
I'm Jeff Quake.
Yeah. So I guess we can kind of just get into the draft a little.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You had an article come out, I guess, yesterday. Must have been.
Yeah, because I published it. It was a funny story about this.
Or just to clarify, since people probably won't know.
Yeah.
But you did a 3-part series in for Sports Talk Philly.
Yep. Talking
Talking about the Flyers off season. And this latest one, part 3, you're talking about the draft. So
Yeah, and a little bit about that, and it was kind of funny because I've been looking for ideas for what part 3 could be, because part 1 was all about contracts.
And you were texting me like, "What's your part 3 be?"
Part 2 was,
because I feel like at first I think you wanted it to be like free agency, but in part 2 you talked about that a little bit. So
I did.
Like, well,
and
now
that
what
was
do I do
kind of
for
my
part
own
3?
fault, because so part 1 was focusing on the Flyers contracts, like you know, who the Flyers could release, they could re-sign. And then our editor, Kevin Durso, told me to say, hey, I'm going to hold on publishing this just yet, because let's wait till media day. And sure enough, luckily we did, because Hexall gave out some interesting stuff, including mentioning basically the only UFA that he's possibly considering re-signing is Valtteri Filppula. So that was pretty interesting, I thought. But part 2, that was possible line combinations for next season, and I kind of had to. Then I thought to myself, well, I kind of have to include free agency, because if they have any free agent signings, that'll go right here. So then I was like, oh wait, I don't know what to do for part 3 now. So I've been wondering over the past couple of weeks what to do, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, I should really get an article there, just
because if the draft is only like 2 weeks away.
It really is, because
today's
the
shortly after that.
Today's the 4th, and
it's the 4th, and we're less than a month away.
No, sorry. It's on the 22nd, I believe.
Yeah.
18 days until the NHL draft in
And
Dallas.
less than a month until free agency.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I kind of get it out.
Because you just realize it now. Oh yeah, we're going to Game 3 of the Stanley Cup,
Yeah.
which means the season's almost over, which means the draft's coming up.
And in Game 2 of the Calder Cup Finals is coming up real soon too.
Unfortunately, Phantoms got swept.
They did, but we can get into that a little bit later. But
because that's kind of what I wrote about recently, was just kind of the youth. I think we talked about it a little bit last time.
I think so, but we'll talk about it more again.
But back to the draft.
Yeah. But yeah, so part 3, I was looking at what all I could write about for the NHL draft coming up in Dallas, and then I thought to myself, okay, maybe I should do something about draft day in general. It doesn't necessarily have to be just the first day, but it most likely will be. But then again, you know, the entire draft is the entire draft, and I mentioned, you know, everything from who the Flyers would pick 14th and 19th overall to the possible trades and moving up, or a possible player getting traded. I texted a good friend of mine, Russ Cohen, who some of us know here through sportsology.com. And he, because he goes to the NHL draft and NHL draft combine every single year. So I was able to get a little inside info, which is great. I asked him, you know, would the Flyers trade anyone at the draft? If so, who will be? He mentioned, you know, he asked, a player, and he says, I don't think so. Radko Gudas is a possibility. I think it's more likely they try to move up in the draft. Let's talk about that for a little bit. So, first things first, all throughout the draft, whether it's the first day or throughout day 2, I mean, the bigger trades will happen during the first day, but the NHL Network does still televise the second,
like the first day is like on NBC Sports, and then
and after that it goes to NHL Network.
That's kind of like the NFL draft, where it's like the first like round or so. It's like on ESPN, and then they move to ESPN 2.
Exactly. So what are the possibilities of the Flyers trading a player, and if so, who will it be? I have 2 players out there that I would consider the Flyers trading. Radko Gudas, like Russ mentioned, is a possibility. My other one, it does come at a bit of a shock. We talked about this before, though. Wayne Simmons.
Yeah,
because
he's always come up. Just because
his
contract
is a big issue, and if
it's more the contract that he would get coming in, or at least what he would want to get, and
for
versus
the Flyers, they have a good amount of young players needing contract extensions.
And they're going to be needed before you know it, so you want to make sure you have enough cap space for it.
Yeah, so who do you think would be a possibility to get traded at the NHL draft?
Obviously Simmons, Gudis, maybe. Who else would be good? Maybe like a Raffle or someone like that.
Ooh, that's an interesting name, like a Raffle.
Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking if you like kind of a middle of the pack kind of guy.
Yeah, like he's a top 9 forward, that's for sure. Because
he's been utilized in
literally every situation.
Yeah, like even this past season, like when they first split up Konechny and from the first line, they put Raffle there, and even the fourth line they weren't producing that much, but at the beginning of the season they were fast and doing everything, and he wasn't producing, but they felt like he's a player that they can put kind of anywhere. Right. And I feel like a team could probably see that as a plus.
No, absolutely. And
I like Raffle, and every year I keep saying he's gonna do good, but somehow, for some reason, he always either gets injured or something happens.
Something happens with him, yeah.
Because all the time, I always hope he does well. Because
he's a good player, and he's a very well-liked player for the whole team.
On the first line for a while.
Say again?
A couple of years ago, he was on the first line with Giroux.
Him, Giroux, and I believe it was Voracek. They all
might have been Simmons.
Or even Simmons. They all clicked together. Either way, Voracek and Raffle have a pretty strong chemistry going. Yeah. And, there's times where last year, this now past season for the Flyers, there was either someone hurt or, when Dave Hacksaw moved Konechny down, I think they threw Raffle up there on the top line for a little bit because, why not?
He's someone who's
familiar and can keep up with Giroux.
He's also, because Hacksaw, Konechny's not defensive at all, so he feels near the end of the game he has to put Konechny down.
Yeah.
Raffle, who's a little better defensively and more
still learning.
Well-rounded.
All right, so here's the thing, though. I'll go into... for the contracts that are ending in 2019 to 2020, so during the next offseason, these are the players' contracts that will expire. Yuri Laterra, he'll definitely be gone. That is unless the Flyers can find a trade partner sooner, which is very unlikely. Wayne Simmons.
I don't know. There's some GMs that might.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, there is always a possibility.
I'm never surprised. We traded Ronaldo for a third-round pick. Okay?
That's fair. And
you don't think Edmonton's... wants Hall back after that trade.
Right. Well, that's their own fault.
I know. I'm just saying. Imagine if they Hall and McDavid this season. They were both really good. Imagine if they were on the same team. They would be in the playoffs now, probably.
They would be at least in the second, third round. Imagine McDavid and Hall on the line. Oh my gosh!
Yes, but they traded Hall.
Yes, unfortunately. Good job, guys. So Simmons...
So nothing would really surprise me trade-wise.
Yeah, no, that's fair, because, you never
know.
Literally, look at Braden Shen. I wasn't expecting him to get traded last year.
Even if you want to go back to Holmgren, when he traded away Richards and Carter. I never would have expected that to happen, and it did.
No, I know, because I was...
First,
2 years out of the Stanley Cup final run, a year after going to the after a very long and tough matchup against.
We got rid of a captain.
Yeah, and look at
even though that series before, everyone was complaining about Richards and everything not being showing up and not really being the captain.
Apparently, there's a rumor, and we'll go back to the contracts for a second after this. But there's a rumor that Chris Pronger. Didn't play during that second round against Boston in 2011. According to reports, he was injured.
Buffalo?
No. Buffalo's first round, Boston was second round because Flyers got swept.
Yeah, and then Boston went on the win.
Yeah. But there's rumors that Chris Pronger didn't play in that second round against Boston because he was hurt. Right. But I think what actually happened, those were the actual reports. What some of the rumors were is that he didn't want to play because he didn't want to play for a captain like Richards.
I could believe that.
I can, oddly enough, I can believe that.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Richards and Pronger always clashed well together.
And I feel like this probably Richards with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because even after he left Philadelphia, he didn't really do anything.
During his first year with LA, he helped. He did have a good part.
He just kind of kept going down.
Down, yeah.
So the trade actually benefited the Flyers.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. That one. And then for the Carter
Carter's
deal,
still doing good.
Oh, yeah. But technically the Flyers won the Carter trade because they sent him to Columbus. They didn't send him to L.A. They sent him to Columbus.
They sent him for Columbus for Voracek.
That was exactly.
Voracek and Couturier, essentially.
And I think the other pick turned out to be Nick Cousins, but he's in Arizona. So, but hey.
And then the other one was Shen and Simmons, and Shen's in St. Louis now.
Yeah, so you never do know. But
and Shen was another person that I kind of find surprising that he was traded because we just gave him the contract like a season before.
Yeah, right.
And then we traded him.
Yeah, no, I was definitely surprised by that. But going back to contract, speaking of Simmons, so his contract is currently $3.975, 3.9 mil, I should say. And his contract will be up next season. And then you also have... it is Michael Raffle, who we talked about earlier, and Jordan Wheel, who are UFAs. Raffle 2.3 cap.
Wheel, I could see them trading. Wheel's another one I can see.
Wheel, he's an interesting case because he was acquired in the Vinny Lecavalier Luke Shen trade to LA, and what they really went after, was it a second round pick or a first round pick? I can't remember.
I forgot.
But because they somehow managed to trade both of those players who had pretty bad contracts with the Flyers. They also acquired a small piece in Jordan Wheel, who turned out to be, just like Braden Shen, a bigger piece than anyone could ever imagine.
Yeah. I mean, this past season, he kind of fell off a little. Or maybe it's because people or maybe because people were expecting him to do better or higher expectations of him. I think they might have expected him
to do better, but also he wasn't really given too many great chances.
And I mean, when your one line mate's been hurt since preseason and he doesn't want to get surgery or anything.
The other one that's coming up is Travis Konechny.
And he's gonna want a contract.
Oh, he'll get a contract. I think. What do you think would be a legitimate contract for TK? 3-4 years?
5 maybe.
5?
Yeah.
I would love to see 5, because he never really got the sophomore slump. If anything, he got better.
He got better.
Sophomore year.
No, because his freshman year, his rookie year, he kept getting benched. He kept making rookie mistakes, and Hackstall kept benching him. Yeah, but he even said at the end of the season that he wanted to play him more. Right. And he did, essentially, but he still has a learning curve.
Oh, yeah, but
he still has that tendency to take a bad penalty. But he's also someone who you kind of want on your team because he's someone who can get in their head.
Oh, no, big time. Like, literally, if you watch any of the games he played in this year.
This is what I can see him kind of turning into, player-wise.
Oh, gosh.
A better version of Oshie.
Ooh, okay, I can see that. Because
Oshie gets under the skin of people. He plays a similar game, but I can see him being a better Oshie.
Here's the funny thing is that people don't really, because it's funny you mentioned that, and I'm glad you did, because people don't really think of Oshie being a player that he can get under your skin, but he does.
He does.
He does it very discreetly.
He does.
But
him and TK went at it.
Oh, no, I know.
Because they both got under each other's skin. Yeah. And he even fought Simmons. He fought Simmons.
That's right. And then here's where it gets really interesting. So, Robert Hagg, he's going to get a contract because his contract's up at the end of this year.
I could say
next year, how many?
I could say 3, 4.
3, 4, yeah. Next year, Provorov's contract is up. He's going to get a big 6-year contract. But then you also have...
Because didn't Ghost just get a contract?
I'm looking at catfriendly.com, and yes, he did. He signed through 2023, 2024.
He's going to get a similar contract than Ghost.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly right. Let me see if it says it here. But his contract length, 6 years. And this is Gus's right. I think, like 6 years, 27 mil.
Okay.
So,
not bad.
I think for
because Provorov is...
I think for Provorov, he would get a very similar contract, if not even more money thrown towards him. Because look how valuable Ivan Provorov is to the Philadelphia
He's our most
Flyers.
important player. Besides Couturier, he's their most important player. Yeah. Giroux, yes, offensively and doing everything. Couturier defensively and Provorov defensively.
Yeah. He was just
defensive. He was defenseman. Because if you lose Provorov, who do you put up there? I'm assuming you might want to put Ghost still up there, but I guess that would be Ghost and McDonald.
Yeah.
Seeing how it's been.
Yeah.
In the past.
So that's a tough call. Here's where it gets very interesting, though. So both Brian Elliott and Michael Neuvirth's contract are up after next season.
Neuvirth's not coming back.
Yeah. Elliott's going to get re-signed.
He could be another person that could possibly want to trade.
I think that's a very valid point.
Or maybe trade for a starter.
Yeah. That would be a good...
Because if you really think about it, is Elliott really someone that could kind of win?
No. Here's the thing, though. I know there's no offense to Brian Elliott whatsoever. It's just...
Not at all.
Right now, like he did very well in his first season. I think he exceeded expectations.
He did, but he played... That's how he played all season.
Yes.
He came up with timely saves, but his numbers weren't stellar.
Right. And then
Hacksaw did his usual, where he run him to the ground, then he got hurt, then he came back literally near the end of the season. So it's like,
and he still didn't come back 100%.
No, he got the shutout in the last game of the season. But then it's like, I don't know, because Neuvirth was still hurt going to the playoffs. Like, do we want to start Elliott or Mrazek at that point? And it's like,
I mean,
I don't know, because Mrazek was struggling for so long.
I know.
For that time, but
honestly
Elliott just came back
to,
and he. It didn't matter anyways. They put up a touchdown against us in game 1.
They did.
And then Elliott rebounded a little in game 2. So
after that, the series went downhill.
Yeah.
But here's where, because you brought up an interesting point. Should the Flyers go after an actual starting goaltender? It wouldn't hurt because
right now, if you think about it, because Mitch and I talked about this a little, and he actually had a good point. Right now, this is their best. Not if you want to go with the players they have now, with like Giroux and the Voracek at their prime, and before they go bad, and Hart's going to take some time to develop. If you want to try to win now, maybe trade for a starter.
Yeah, it honestly wouldn't
Elliott
hurt.
might not be the person that can help you win.
I think he would be a good backup.
Yeah. He hates being a backup, but he could be a good backup.
I mean, hey, think about it this way. He's a good enough goalie to, still play, of course. And
you don't know how hard it's going to be once he's actually here. He's playing in juniors. He's playing great in juniors, but it's juniors. Next season's going to be a big
league because this is the first year he's going to be in the American Hockey League.
And that's another thing I talked about in my last article was goaltending.
Yeah.
Because next season going in, not even just for the Flyers, but Phantoms, you have Stolars, Lyon, and
a healthy Stolars, and Hart. Also, but I don't know how many years away he is, but Felix Sandstrom.
He's going to go back. He's going back to Sweden next season. He already signed back to them.
I mean, I think that's a good move because he's literally...
He had an injured year, so he's going back because he wants to...
Okay. I mean, hey,
but
all credit to him.
I know just because he signed his entry level, because he kind of had to, but he signed it near the end of this past season. He's going to come to, not this upcoming training camp, but next training camp. He's going to be here.
For Sandstrom?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm fine with that because I think Felix Sandstrom, he's going to be a phenomenal goalie.
Lions played well at times, but I don't think Lyon and Stolars are future. So
they're here.
They're
for
great
right now.
If someone else would want them for a trade option, maybe they could be great AHL goalies. Maybe if they get an opportunity.
Definitely great AHL goalies. NHL they'll have their shot. Because here's my
Stolars had it the year before Lyon this past season.
But the thing is with Stolars, I don't think the Flyers gave him a good enough look. Because during the 10-game winning streak, Mason played 7 or 8 of those games, while Stolars played 2 or 3. And that was
the same with Elliott and Lyon.
Exactly. So I think what happens is the Flyers, they keep Brian Elliott and they get rid of Michael Neuvirth, either just letting him go, or I think they just try their best. I think by the NHL trade deadline of next season, that is when they'll get rid of him. Yeah. It's possible they'll get rid of him. Well, then again,
this upcoming off season is going to be there's going to be some big time trades. I have a feeling.
Oh no, absolutely.
Especially just with
not even with the Flyers, but just in general for the whole league. Because I think
there's been rumors that even Subban might be traded.
Yeah, no, there's because there's I did see that. I don't know if because I did see an article come out a couple within the last month or two. This is a couple years ago where Nashville still had Subban, but they're kicking the tires on a trade option to get Matt Duchene from Colorado, and I guess that trade fell through. But maybe. I don't know how that would turn out for trading Subban. But overall, though, I think this, and I gotta look at my article again. I hope I mentioned this. I don't think I did though, and I'm thinking about it. This is honestly one of the most important all seasons the Flyers will have had.
If not, you said in the last podcast. I remember that.
In a few years, because this is the first time they have legitimate money.
Yeah.
And they're slowly but surely getting over the hump. Yes, they made the playoffs, but another first round exit. Yeah. What are you going to do?
I even said that in my article that even next season, playoffs or not, you should be happy with where the team's going to be going.
Yeah.
Because every year someone's going to come up.
Yeah.
Because this next season, Sanheim's going to be playing the whole year.
Yep. And Hagg should be playing the whole year.
He should be. More unfortunately,
he's out
since our last last podcast. He
has a torn ACL. He's out till February. I think he had surgery already.
I think so. But that hurts him.
That really does. But that helps the door for Philip Myers.
Yeah.
Which I think is as much as I love Sam Morin and his game, I think Philip Myers is going to be a tremendous asset to
which
the
makes
Flyers.
You really think he was undrafted.
I know. That's the best part. Is Philip Myers
and I don't know why either. He's a good skater and he's a good size.
He's a great skater. Like literally during the playoffs, nobody took a shot on him. During the playoffs, I don't know if, how much of the Phantoms run you saw, but literally
not much. But
there's
I
highlights.
Couldn't really see much of it.
There's highlights though all over of Philip Myers just skating around. Like literally, he takes the puck.
Talk about him in a little bit.
Goes all around the rink. It's unreal. I don't get how he does it.
Like even in against Toronto, he had a goal and assist in the game.
Yeah,
he's still producing. He's still. I mean, and that was with Sanheim coming back from injury.
Yeah,
which I'm surprised he already came back.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, he got hurt and then he came back.
That's a very good point.
But now he's got a couple months to heal up. So he'll be fine by the season starts.
Yeah, I hope so, though.
Same with Couturier and Provorov.
Just overall... Oh, also, just because we're mentioning, players who have been injured and stuff, an important player to mention during this whole thing, this will be Nolan Patrick's first real all-season where he can train and be completely healthy. Not only that, but he has all the great trainers in Philadelphia to help him get there, and I think he's going to do phenomenal during his second season. Because,
I can see it.
I mean, sure, he had a very rough start, getting a concussion and everything, and still battling with the sports hernia injuries, but during the second half of the season, he really turned on.
Yeah, he did.
All of the
even in the playoffs, he wasn't really producing points wise, but he was noticeable.
He was still noticeable.
He was noticeable
for sure, yeah.
And obviously the Flyers are more important with the line-to-line competition or whatever.
Yeah.
But even when he went up against their third line, he was still able to shut them down.
I agree.
Their line was able to do well when it came out.
Because I wanted to look up. Let's have to get a roster.
Because it's good to know now that because Couturier this past season, we know it's because that was the limit question coming into this past season was if he was like a future number one center or not. He is.
Yeah, he is.
Any doubt people have, he does. He is.
No, he is, which is nice, and
it just took him for someone to finally put him with good line mates, and then it happened, and not just put him on defensively, which was just like always a smart thing to do because he's so good defensively. But
because Patrick, he ended up with 30 points in the regular season.
He was eventually put on the first power play unit.
Yeah, and that really helped. He had 2 points in the playoffs in 6 games.
Yeah.
Wow. He did play 73 games.
Yeah.
So it's not like he missed a whole lot. But
No, he didn't. It was the concussion that he missed.
Exactly.
Most part.
Other than that, he played 73 games of 82, so he missed only 9 games, which, wow.
But he didn't really come in until like the second half of the season.
Do you know who actually surprised me? Filppula. He had 33 points this year.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
that
good
does
to
surprise
see.
me.
TK had 47.
For someone whose
awesome.
speed looks a lot, it's not where it was before and everything. That's surprising to me.
Yeah, do you know what's also surprising? I just saw this as I was looking up stats. Well, all right, that's because he's tied for second, but Filppula was tied for second in playoff points this year.
Really?
Everyone had 3 basically.
All right.
So that's why. Couturier shot just bursted out of the air with 9 points.
He
Filppula,
brought us into game 1 and 1 leg.
Yeah.
He did it on 1 leg.
Yep. And look what he did game 6, a hat trick, 5 points. So Filppula, Giroux, Provorov, and Jake Voracek all had 3 points.